Welcome to the AI Show by Brainwave Audio, bringing you the latest in artificial intelligence and machine learning. Hosts Liam Foster and Ava Monroe dive into cutting-edge research,
Groundbreaking innovations and ethical discussions.
making complex topics accessible.
Tune in weekly for expert analysis
Interview.
and insights that reveal how AI is shaping our world.
Discover the future with us.
For today.
Today we're taking a deep dive into something you sent our way. A
Yeah.
whole collection of research on neuroscience and AI safety.
It's a fascinating area, especially with AI becoming, increasingly capable. The research really gets into how we can use what we know about the human brain to make sure AI develops safely.
I admit, when I first saw the title, Neuroscience for AI Safety, I pictured scientists hooking up robots to brain scanners.
Well, it's not quite that dramatic, but the core idea is there.
Okay.
We're essentially trying to learn from the brain's design to build AI that's more robust and reliable.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Why is this so important right now?
Well, think about all the ways AI is becoming integrated into our lives. Self-driving cars, medical diagnosis, even financial systems.
Right.
We're giving AI more and more control.
Yeah.
So making sure those systems are safe is absolutely crucial.
Right, because even a small error in a self-driving car's algorithm,
Exactly.
could have disastrous consequences.
Exactly. And one of the biggest challenges is making sure AI systems do what we mean, as one of the papers put it, not just what we say.
That sounds tricky. Can
Yeah.
you give me an example?
Sure, imagine programming a self-driving car to avoid collisions at all costs.
Okay.
It might interpret that instruction to literally and simply refuse to move at all, rather than navigating traffic safely.
I see. So it's about making sure the AI understands the nuances of our goals, not just the, surface level instructions.
Exactly. That's what researchers refer to as specification.
Okay.
And then there's assurance, which is about being able to verify that the AI is actually behaving as intended, sort of like being able to look inside its decision-making process.
So kind of like having a logic inspector for AI.
Precisely. Now, this is where neuroscience comes in.
Right.
The human brain, for all its quirks, is remarkably good at navigating the world safely.
Yeah.
We make mistakes,
Uh-huh.
sure, but we're generally not crashing into things or making decisions that lead to, catastrophic outcomes.
That's true. I like to think I'm pretty good at avoiding danger.
And that's not by accident. Our brains have evolved over millions of years to be robust,
Yeah.
adaptable, and generally good at keeping us alive. Researchers believe we can learn a lot from this evolutionary process and apply those principles to the design of AI systems.
So it's not about copying the brain exactly, but about extracting those design principles that contribute to safety.
Exactly. Think of it like studying a bird's wing to design an airplane. You're not trying to build a flapping machine, but understanding the principles of aerodynamics to achieve flight.
Okay, I'm starting to see the connection,
Good.
but the brain is incredibly complex. Where do we even begin?
Well, one framework that researchers use is called Mars levels of analysis.
Yeah.
It helps break down the study of the brain into different levels.
Okay, let's hear about these levels.
So the first level is the computational level, which is all about understanding the brain's overall goals and strategies. What is it trying to achieve? Why does it do what it does?
So figuring out the big picture purpose of different brain regions.
Exactly. The next level is the algorithmic level,
Okay.
which delves into the specific processes and representations the brain uses to achieve those goals. What are the steps involved? How does the brain encode and process information?
So going from the why to the how.
Precisely.
Okay.
And finally, there's the implementation level, which focuses on the physical hardware of the brain,
Right.
the neurons, synapses, and neurotransmitters that make it all work.
So the nitty-gritty details of how it's all put together.
Exactly. And by studying the brain at these different levels, we can start to identify those aspects that contribute to safe and robust behavior. And then the challenge is to translate those principles into the design of AI systems.
This is fascinating stuff. So where are the most promising areas where neuroscience is already making a difference in AI safety?
Well, one area where current AI systems are particularly vulnerable is in their sensory systems.
Okay.
They're often quite brittle, susceptible to what we call adversarial examples.
Adversarial examples, what are those?
Imagine a stop sign that has a few stickers strategically placed on it. To the human eye, it's still clearly a stop sign. But an AI system might completely misinterpret it, potentially causing a self-driving car to run through the intersection.
That's scary. So it's like tricking the AI's eyes.
Exactly. And this isn't just a theoretical problem. Researchers have shown that even subtle manipulations of images or sounds can cause AI systems to make significant errors.
I see. So how can neuroscience help us address this vulnerability?
Well, the human brain is remarkably good at recognizing objects and patterns, even in noisy or ambiguous environments.
Right.
We can still identify a stop sign, even if it's partially obscured or covered in snow.
Yeah.
Researchers believe we can learn a lot from how the brain achieves this robustness.
So instead of just feeding AI systems tons of data, we need to understand how the brain processes that data so effectively.
Exactly. One promising approach is to build what researchers call sensory digital twins. AI models trained to mimic the activity of brain regions responsible for sensory processing.
So we'd be training AI systems not just on images, but on actual brain activity recorded while someone is looking at those images.
That's the idea. By training AI models to match the brain's responses, we could potentially build AI systems that see the world more like we do, with all the robustness and flexibility that entails.
Okay, that makes sense. So we're essentially giving AI a brain upgrade for its sensory systems. What other areas are researchers exploring?
Well, building on the idea of mimicking human sensory processing, another exciting area is the development of what researchers call embodied digital twins.
Embodied digital twins. That sounds even more futuristic.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Imagine simulating entire brains and bodies in virtual environments.
Like creating a virtual world populated by AI agents that have brain-like processing.
Exactly. And by doing so, we could potentially create AI systems that inherit desirable human properties like cooperation and safe exploration.
So we'd be able to observe how these AI agents learn to interact with their surroundings and develop behaviors that are safe and ethical.
Precisely. It's like creating a virtual sandbox where we can safely study AI development and identify potential problems before they become real-world issues.
This is all incredibly fascinating.
It is, isn't it?
So far, we've talked about sensory digital twins and embodied digital twins. Are there any other ways neuroscience is contributing to safer AI?
Absolutely. There are several other promising approaches that researchers are exploring, each drawing inspiration from the brain's remarkable capabilities. Let's dive into those next. One approach that really pushes the boundaries is the idea of building biophysically detailed models of the brain.
Okay, we're going deep now.
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
Imagine creating a simulation of the brain that's so detailed it replicates the activity of individual neurons and their connections.
Wow, that sounds incredibly complex, like a digital replica of the entire brain.
You got it.
Okay.
It's a massive undertaking, and it raises a lot of questions about feasibility and ethics.
Right.
But the potential payoff is huge.
What kind of payoff are we talking about?
Well, if we can understand how the brain works at that level of detail, we might unlock secrets about consciousness, learning, and even how the brain achieves its incredible robustness.
So we could potentially learn how to build AI that's not just intelligent, but also resilient and adaptable, like the human brain.
Precisely. Of course, this approach is still in its early stages, and there's a lot of debate about whether it's even possible to create such detailed models.
It sounds like a scientific grand challenge with the potential to revolutionize both AI and our understanding of the brain itself.
It certainly is. But there are other approaches that are perhaps a bit more practical in the near term. One that I find particularly interesting is the idea of developing better cognitive architectures for AI.
Cognitive architectures. Now that's a term I haven't heard before.
Think of it as a blueprint for building AI systems that incorporate principles of human cognition, things like reasoning, learning, and decision-making.
So instead of trying to perfectly replicate the brain's physical structure, we're focusing on how it processes information and makes decisions.
Exactly. We're trying to understand the algorithms and representations that underpin human intelligence and then use those insights to build AI that's more aligned with human thought processes.
So instead of just crunching numbers, these AI systems would be able to understand context, learn from limited data, and make more human-like judgments.
That's the goal. And the research suggests that this could lead to AI that's more intuitive, adaptable, and less prone to making dangerous mistakes.
It's like giving AI a dose of common sense, which seems like a pretty good idea when we're talking about safety.
Absolutely. And here's where it gets really interesting. Researchers believe that understanding the brain's loss functions could be key to building AI that's truly aligned with human values.
Loss functions. I know that term from machine learning. But what does it have to do with the brain?
Well, in AI, A loss function defines the objective the AI system is trying to optimize. It's what the AI is trying to achieve.
So like for a self-driving car, the loss function might be to minimize travel time while avoiding collisions.
Exactly. Now imagine if we could figure out what the brain itself is trying to optimize.
Okay.
What are the fundamental goals and motivations that drive human behavior?
It's like trying to crack the code of human motivation.
In a way,
Yeah. And if we could understand those underlying goals, we could potentially build AI systems that are aligned with human values at a very deep level.
That's a profound thought. We're not just talking about making AI safer, but about making it more fundamentally compatible with human nature.
That's the idea. Of course, it's a daunting challenge, but the potential payoff is enormous. If we could build AI that truly understands and shares our goals, we could create a future where AI and humans work together seamlessly and beneficially.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here, from biophysically detailed models to cognitive architectures and loss functions. Are there any other ways that neuroscience is informing AI safety?
There are a couple more areas I'd like to highlight. One is the use of actual brain data to fine-tune AI systems.
Wait, so we'd be training AI not just on data sets, but on real human brain activity?
Exactly. It's becoming increasingly possible as brain imaging technologies advance. We can collect data on brain activity while people are performing specific tasks and then use that data to train AI systems. So we'd be essentially teaching AI to think more like a human by exposing it to human brain patterns.
You got it.
Okay.
Imagine training a self-driving car, not just on traffic rules, but also on how human drivers react to different situations based on their brain activity.
Yeah.
The AI could learn from the subtle nuances of human decision-making in real-world scenarios.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
It's like giving AI a human touch when it comes to safety. Anything else?
There's one more area I'd like to highlight that I think has the potential to revolutionize AI safety, and it's perhaps the most challenging of all.
Yeah.
Mechanistic interpretability.
That sounds intense.
It is.
What's that all about?
Right now, even the most advanced AI systems are often described as like black boxes.
Yeah.
We know what goes in and what comes out, but
Yeah.
we don't really understand the internal workings, the steps the AI takes to reach a decision.
And that's a problem because
Well, if we don't understand how the AI is making decisions, we can't be truly confident that those decisions are safe and reliable.
Yeah.
It's like driving a car without knowing how the engine works. You might be able to get from point A to point B, but you're at a higher risk of something going wrong.
I see. So mechanistic interpretability is about opening up that black box and understanding the AI's reasoning process.
Exactly. And neuroscience is playing a key role in developing techniques to do just that.
So how does neuroscience help us understand AI? It seems like those are two very different fields.
They are, but there are some surprising connections.
Okay.
Remember those artificial neural networks we talked about earlier? The ones inspired by the structure of the brain?
Yeah, the ones that are good at things like image recognition and natural language processing.
Those are the ones. Well, researchers are starting to adapt techniques from neuroscience to study these artificial networks.
Oh, okay.
Techniques that were originally developed to study brain activity are now being used to probe the inner workings of AI.
So we're using tools from brain science to understand the, brain of AI.
That's a great way to put it. And this approach is already yielding some fascinating insights.
Yeah.
Researchers are starting to identify how different parts of an artificial network contribute to a decision, how information flows through the network, and even where potential biases might be lurking.
Wow, so we're starting to get a much clearer picture of how AI thinks,
We are.
which could be incredibly valuable for ensuring safety.
Absolutely. Imagine being able to pinpoint the exact point in an AI's decision-making process where a bias emerges,
Right.
or where an error is introduced. We could then potentially correct those problems and build AI that's not just intelligent, but also fair, transparent, and accountable.
This is really exciting stuff. It feels like we're on the cusp of a major breakthrough in AI safety, thanks in large part to the insights we're gaining from neuroscience.
I agree, and I think this is just the beginning. As we continue to explore the intersection of these two fields, I'm confident we'll discover even more powerful ways to build AI that's aligned with human values and that benefits society as a whole.
It's an incredible time to be following this field. We've covered so much ground today, from sensory digital twins to embodied digital twins, biophysically detailed models, cognitive architectures, fine-tuning AI with brain data, understanding the brain's loss functions, and now mechanistic interpretability. It's clear that neuroscience is having a profound impact on the way we think about and design AI, especially when it comes to safety.
It's been a fascinating journey, and I hope this deep dive has given you a better understanding of this exciting field. As AI becomes increasingly integrated into our lives, the insights from neuroscience will be essential in ensuring that these powerful technologies are developed and used responsibly.
After diving into all this research with you, I'm not just excited about the future of AI, I'm optimistic. It seems like we're finally starting to ask the right questions and develop the tools we need to build AI that's both powerful and beneficial.
I share your optimism. By harnessing the wisdom of the brain, we can create a future where AI enhances human well-being and helps us solve some of the world's most pressing challenges.
It's a future worth striving for, and that brings us to the end of this deep dive. I encourage you to explore the links we've provided in the show notes to learn more about this fascinating area of research. Until next time on the AI Show, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking those big questions.